Welcome to this special edition of the John Fredericks Show across Virginia and Northeast North Carolina. We're live today with new Iowa Des Moines Register poll front runner, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, a leading candidate for president. Senator Cruz, welcome back to Virginia, back to the John Fredericks Show once again. Glad you're with us, sir.
John, good afternoon. It's great to be with you.
Also, I want to tell everybody that Senator Cruz will be in Richmond tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. for a rally. This is in Mechanicsville at the Life Church, 8378 Atlee Road in Mechanicsville. More info, go to tedcruz.org. That's tedcruz.org and hit RSVP. That's 11:30 tomorrow. Senator, let's start with Tuesday night's Las Vegas debate. I thought you did exceptionally well and had some rather heated exchanges with Senator Rubio concerning immigration reform, amnesty, the Chuck Schumer Gang of Eight fiasco. Outline for us, Senator, your immigration policy, if you can, sir, in clear terms.
Well, sure, and I have a very detailed immigration plan that I have laid out. It's 11 pages, single space, and it's on the website, tedcruz.org, so you can read chapter and verse, every aspect. It is the most serious and aggressive plan any presidential candidate has laid out to actually secure the borders. And it was drafted. I drafted it working very, very closely with Senator Jeff Sessions and Congressman Steve King, two very good friends, and we've worked side by side over and over again fighting to secure the border and to stop illegal immigration. I think the keys on immigration, number one, we have to secure the border. We've had politicians talking about this forever and ever and ever. Border security is national security, and as president, I will secure the border. We will build a wall that works. Existing law right now requires 700 miles of double-layered border fencing. The Obama administration refuses to do that. They've built only 36 miles. As president, I will build the wall. We will triple the Border Patrol. We will increase fourfold the fixed-wing and rotary-wing aircraft so that we can monitor and send the boots on the ground where the incursions are attempting to happen. Mm-hmm. We will put in place a strong biometric exit-entry system for visas, because 40% of illegal immigration doesn't come across the border. It's people coming legally on visas and overstaying their visas. Existing federal law mandates a biometric exit-entry system. The Obama administration refuses to follow the law. I will follow the law. On top of that, we'll put in place strong E-Verify. We will end sanctuary cities. There are about 360 jurisdictions in this country that are defying federal immigration law. We will cut off their federal money to force them to comply with federal immigration law. We will end welfare for those who are here illegally. We will deport criminal illegal aliens, and we will enforce the laws. And at the end of the day, the laws we have are actually quite robust on immigration.
Right.
What's missing, John, is the political will to enforce them. And as president, I will enforce the law, and we will secure the border.
Now, Senator, Speaker Ryan-led U.S. House of Representatives is about to come down with a $1.1 trillion tax and spend plan. I'm sure you've seen this now, 2,000 pages. I got to be honest, Senator Cruz, to many Republican primary voters, this looks like a total abomination. The debt goes up, handed off again to our children. Now to go over $20 trillion. There's $600 billion in corporate lobbyist tax reductions that have no impact on working people and are not funded, so that drives up the debt. Yet we're funding Planned Parenthood, sanctuary cities, Syrian refugees, Iraqi refugees, and adding potentially another 200,000 HB2 visas to take away jobs for Americans and potentially lower wages. And it's passing with a majority of Democrats. I mean, this is almost like a Nancy Pelosi dream come true. What do you make of this mess?
John, you are exactly right. You know, typically in the Senate, you have two votes. You can vote either yes or no. On this particular matter, my vote, I intend to be hell no. This is what's wrong with the Washington cartel. You know, it was interesting. I saw a quote this week from Senator Schumer that really Chuck Schumer summed up what's wrong with Washington. And what Chuck Schumer said is, quote, Senator McConnell wants to see the Senate work. But the good news for us is, to make it work, he has to basically do our agenda. That's exactly right. I mean, we now have, theoretically, Republican majorities in the House and the Senate, and Republican leadership has proven to be the most effective Democratic leaders we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
This omnibus does not honor the promises we made to the men and women who elected us. It funds Obamacare, it funds Planned Parenthood, it funds executive amnesty. It fails to stop Syrian refugees from coming to this country to protect our national security. It doesn't do that. It fails to do anything to stop the Iranian nuclear deal. And what does it do? It jacks up yet more low-skilled immigration, which will only drive down wages, kill jobs, hurt the working men and women. This is the big government agenda of Democrats, but sadly it's the agenda of the Washington cartel, which is what I call career politicians in both parties who get in bed with lobbyists and special interests and grow and grow and grow government. It's why people are so frustrated. But I'll tell you, John, it's also why we're seeing so much enthusiasm, so much support behind our campaign. Because people are fed up with politicians who say one thing and do another, and they're looking for a consistent conservative, someone they can trust, someone who will do what he says. And that's what I've tried to do every single day in the U.S. Senate, is simply tell the truth and do what I said. And I think that's why we're seeing conservatives really uniting behind our campaign and coming together. And the simple reality is, if conservatives unite, we win. We win the primary, and if conservatives come out and stand together, we will win the general, and we will turn the country around.
Well, you're certainly making a move, there's no question. And when you see this omnibus bill, I'm telling you, Senator, this is what is driving Republican voters away from the establishment in its totality. Totally. Now, let's get to the Trans-Pacific Partnership deal. Fast Track gave Obama the ability, President Obama, to negotiate it. I'm sure by now you had a chance to read some of this online. Some of it is pretty egregious. It's an up or down vote, no amendments. If it came up today, would Senator Cruz hit the green button or the red button?
I am a no on TPP.
Great.
And I've publicly announced that a number of weeks ago. And the reason is, I think we ought to be defending American workers, and this agreement doesn't do this. This agreement, as you noted, it is a massive agreement. It is longer than Obamacare and the Gang of Eight amnesty bill combined. And I believe in free trade. I think we benefit America when we open foreign markets to our goods and services. But I'm convinced that as president, I can negotiate a much better deal for American workers that doesn't disadvantage us, but enables us to improve our economic condition, to expand jobs, rather than giving up our sovereignty, rather than risking undermining our immigration laws. And so I intend to be a no. I'm fighting to kill TPP. I voted no on TPA as well, because this president has demonstrated for 7 years he will not fight for American interest. He will not fight for the working men and women of this country. Instead, he fights for big money and power in Washington, and it is why we've had 7 years of economic stagnation, of millions of Americans hurting. That is going to change come 2017 with new leadership, getting us back to a president who fights for the working men and women of this country.
By all means. Now, Senator Cruz, like all major election cycles, unions, as you know, one of the biggest contributors to Democratic candidates. You're a co-sponsor of the Employee Rights Act. This has kind of gone under the radar screen that aims to provide employees the opportunity to not only opt out of having their dues, support liberal causes they don't back, but also guarantee that union members have the right to a secret ballot election, an opportunity to vote periodically to determine whether they still want to be represented. Is this bill something you would sign into law if elected president?
I would sign it in a heartbeat. And it is the right thing to do, to be protecting working men and women in this country, to be standing up and fighting for them. And it's something I'm proud to do. Overwhelming majorities of Americans agree we should be doing it. And the problem is, it's the political corruption in Washington that undermines the working men and women in this country. It's why you get Democrats and establishment Republicans supporting amnesty. Mm-hmm. It drives down wages, which is great for big business and lousy for working men and women in this country. It's why you get Democrats and establishment Republicans supporting TPP. Mm-hmm. Again, because it's great for big business and hurts the working men and women of this country. And, I will note there's a real divide going on in the Democratic Party, which is Democrats in recent years, they've chosen between two traditional favored children of the Democratic Party. They have chosen, Chuck Schumer and Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton have chosen to go with the money from California environmentalist billionaires rather than the jobs of union members. And I think what they decided is they needed the money now, and they could count on the union bosses to basically be Democratic operatives and try to deliver the votes. I think we have an incredible opportunity with union members throughout this country. Just like Ronald Reagan, when the Teamsters came over and supported Ronald Reagan, right. I think working men and women, union members across this country, can and should be supporting Republicans because Republicans are fighting for every American to have the right to work, to provide for their kids, for small businesses to prosper, and it is the Democrats who are doing things like killing the Keystone Pipeline, preventing small businesses from growing. If we fight for the working men and women, if we fight against amnesty, if we stand for the American people, that's how we win, and that's exactly what I'm doing, which is why we're seeing such tremendous momentum. We're seeing people all over the country going to tedcruz.org, signing up, volunteering, joining a coalition of courageous conservatives all across this country.
Senator Cruz, we've got only a couple more minutes. A lot of Republicans ask, since you have a majority now in the Senate, why not get rid of the antiquated Senate cloture rule of 60 that a lot of people think senators hide behind so they don't have to come clean on an issue one way or the other? What's the deal with this?
Well, I'll tell you, I think it would be a mistake to get rid of the filibuster rules. And the reason is simple. If we did that, it would usher in a massive expansion of the federal government. Since World War II, or in modern times, we've had three Democratic supermajorities. The first one gave us the New Deal. The second one gave us the Great Society. And the third one gave us Obamacare and Dodd-Frank. When the Democrats have a supermajority, they have done crushing damage that has bankrupted this country. Well, if we get rid of the filibuster, we know in time there will be another Democratic majority in the Senate. I hope not for a long time, but history shows us that it will go back and forth. And getting rid of the filibuster will mean the next time the Democrats have 51 votes, they have a supermajority, and we will see yet more catastrophic big government policies go through. If you look at the previous Senate, the Harry Reid Senate, I joined with other conservatives using the filibuster to protect our rights. So, for example, Harry Reid and Chuck Schumer and Barack Obama tried to come after the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. Because of the filibuster, we were able to defeat it. I led the fight to defend the Second Amendment.
Right.
We saw Harry Reid and the Democrats try to go after our religious liberty, try to gut the Federal Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Again, we used the filibuster to stop them from doing that. The problem with our Republican majorities isn't the filibuster. This is a lie that leadership tells you. The problem is leadership is not listening to the American people and is not honoring the commitments that we made. And Republican leadership dances to the tune of the lobbyists and special interests in Washington. So does Democratic leadership. It's why Chuck Schumer is so happy. I cannot tell you how many Democrats are thrilled with Republican leadership in the Senate because Mitch McConnell is accomplishing more of the Democratic agenda than Harry Reid ever could. And it's not the filibuster. It's that leadership believes they are accountable to the lobbyists and not to the men and women who elected us. It's why the only way we're going to change this, John, is to have a strong conservative president who stands up and says to Washington, we are going to honor these promises. If you send me a bill filled with corporate welfare and pork, I will veto it. If you send me a bill that is undermining the American workers, I will veto it. If you send me a bill that is attacking our constitutional rights, I will veto it. We need to nominate and elect a president as committed to conservative principles as Barack Obama is to liberal principles.
Senator Cruz, we're out of time. Thank you for being with us. More information, tedcruz.org, RSVP for tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. in Mechanicsville, just outside of Richmond at Life Church. Senator, good luck, sir. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, John. God bless you, and Merry Christmas.
All right. Merry Christmas. Senator Cruz, live tomorrow, Life Church, 11:30 a.m.